Hey y'all. How are you? How are you? How are you? How are you? So tonight I want to talk about grace or foolishness. Um so there's a register known pedophile that is currently in the church that I was attending. And I choose not to be there. The fact that being a victim of rape myself, I can only imagine, and it makes me cry because I can only imagine how a 7-year-old, feels being raped by a grown man. There's no way they gave consent. Not saying that a 16-year-old gave consent, but I know that 7-year-old, and it's just bothering me. And people are saying that I'm too sensitive, that I need to learn to forgive, and I need to learn to have grace. Mind you, I just found out about this. Okay, so I didn't know. They came to the church and they said that they were charged. But no, you were not charged. You were convicted. And you served time in jail. There's a difference between being charged and being convicted. I think that I would rather sit under a murderer, an adulterer, a thief, than a pedophile. Especially a pre-adolescent pedophile. There's no way a 7-year-old is sexy to a grown man. What were you thinking? And then gave her an STD. Here we go, y'all. Okay. So I was saying that I felt that I felt victimized. And let me tell you why I feel like I'm the victim, because I feel like I'm the only one that's kicking and screaming, and that they're like, okay, well, if Tangi leaves, then it'll be easier. Like, we don't have to deal with that, and we can just stick our head in the sand and act like it's not happening. Well, it is happening. And I'm surprised that somebody who values their image, and I always talk about excellence, because having a pedophile sitting on your pulpit is not excellence. It's so far from excellence.
It ain't good business sense either.
It's not excellence.
I mean, it is what it is. People say, oh, we don't give felons and people, a chance because they paid. And, well, okay, I understand all that too. But yet, there's still certain things, I'm sorry, you just ain't never be able to do, like vote.
But okay. Regardless, not even with my situation, everybody, even before, everybody had their own little suspicions anyway. Everybody had their own suspicions. Baby, everybody's spirit ain't off. You know what I'm saying? When my grandma used to tell me, look, if everybody thinks it, everybody ain't lying. Everybody ain't hating on you. Okay? Not just Tangi. Tangi wasn't the only one that said it. Okay? Tangi's not the only one that said it. Other people said it as well. So, everybody ain't lying on you. Baby, they not lying on you. Everybody is not lying on you. You might have 1 or 2 haters, but everybody is not hating on you. And my thing is, I just don't get it. And I feel like I'm making out, to be like, oh, you're being insensitive. And I don't know. Like, I feel some kind of way. It's more like I'm hurt. Like, this is true. Yeah, and I was told to charge. It's not a charge. It's a conviction. And I got it. That it happened years ago. But should I pull up the FBI statistics? I have pulled up the FBI statistics on pre-adolescent pedophiles. And the FBI states that they are incurable. That once they if they have a sexual taste for pre-adolescent girls, meaning girls that have not hit their adolescent years yet, or children that have not hit their adolescent years, that is normally always their preference. And they seek on, they prey on, 90% prey on, is convenience. So they don't go out searching for strangers, which was, that was his cousin. So, and then you're talking about the church, and yeah, it's a small church now, but what happens when it's a big church and you have a big children's ministry, and you're not gonna, I've been in big churches, you're not gonna be able to watch everybody.
Well, and not only that, why not be upfront as well? you on the pretense of, it's, not being fully transparent. You see what I'm saying? Because he done had everybody thinking, it's just a charge. Oh, just a charge. No.
I swear I thought it was just a charge.
You did 4 years in the pen, dude, for it. So that ain't just a charge. You did 4 years stretch, man. Okay? And another 4 month stretch for something else.
But bigamy.
Okay? It's different if you come up front and just said, look, I did a 4 year stretch. This is what I did. Whatever, But to be sneaky, to me it's sneaky. To me it's sneaky. And now everybody thinks, because now, it's just manipulation. It's now everybody, because now, so if Tangi says something, oh no, that's just, just like you're saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you already knew that and you know that, then you're going to think about it just a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
See?
My thing is right here. Oh, invite somebody to the church. I wouldn't invite nobody to the church. Not nobody. Especially nobody with no kids. Man, if somebody invited me to their church, their little church, and they knew that their daggone pastor was a known pedophile, we'd be fighting. Yeah. I would say, especially if I had small kids, why would you invite me to your church knowing that you got a pedophile there? You may not care about your kids, but I care about mine.
And look, I'm gonna have to talk to my people that I invited, because they came a couple times, and then
I thought they liked it. I thought they liked it.
Why, say, look, be straight up with me. Tell me why, why it is that she ain't came back, because, I really need to know. Because they very well could have just Googled up too.
It's the first thing that pops up.
And they got kids too. So,
especially when you got small kids, you got to think about that. Like, you cannot. And I would be remiss if something happened to somebody's child. I would not be able to live with myself. How could you live with yourself if it happened again? And the statistics, these are the FBI statistics. Nobody in that church is dumb. Okay? Nobody is.
And think about this for me too, in my position. If something was, they ain't just be looking at that joker. They're going to be looking at the organization, and they're going to look at everybody who's in any kind of position dealing with children on the second part of it. And that's going to be me, and I'm going to be caught up too in some bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ain't nobody thinking about this kind of stuff.
They're not thinking about other people and what they got going on and what they want to do with their life. And it's like, wait a minute, why do you go here? Why do you go? Like, even with my husband, like, my husband's an officer. Like, you go and I invite some of my officer wife friend. Wait a minute, you go to and most military families have small kids. Wait a minute, Tangi. No, you're not about to make me look stupid. You're not about to make me look stupid. If you want your name to be drug in the mud, now I'm not saying my name would never be drug in the mud, but it's gonna be drug in the mud for something that I did. It ain't gonna be drug in the mud for somebody else.
You know what? And you know what's interesting to me is what Venice said when you asked her. What would your boyfriend or your child's father say if you told him? If you told him this, what would he say if you told him what he said? What you said he said to you, and see what he says about that.
You know what? He'd say the same thing. The same thing that my husband said. It's too easy.
Yep.
You're not going back. It's too easy. You're not going back. You give way too much. You do too much. You're always going anyway.
You want to go, but you ain't taking my daughter.
Yeah, to do this. You would not. You would not. Because inappropriate things were said, not just to me. So don't try to just blame it on me. And my thing was this right here. I said, I am telling it, okay? I'm telling it. I'm telling it all. You know why? Because nobody's going to say, lie on me and say, well, you know what, she made a pass at me or she
Y'all
did this.
hid.
No, I ain't make no pass at
Y'all
nobody.
swept it under the
So you're
rug.
not
Y'all
gonna
hid
lie
this.
on me. That's what's not gonna happen. I'm gonna tell my own story before I tell my own story. Now, mind you, I know that everybody needs grace. Everybody needs salvation. So you can get your salvation right in the daggone front pew with everybody else. If you do got something to say, if the Lord told you to tell us something on a Sunday morning, then you can walk right up them steps and says what thus says the Lord. Tell us what thus says the Lord and come on back on down.
And you know what? And we're gonna take it. We're gonna take it for what
But you're not. And then like, oh, it's not. He's not in charge. He is in charge. Again, like in the military. Boom. Here you go. Senior pastor equals commander. Co-pastor equals first sergeant. Associate pastor equals platoon sergeant. The leaders of the church, which would be us, squad leaders, and then everybody else. So therefore, you do take orders from. Come on now, who's stupid? Who's stupid around here?
The last I heard was the title of associate pastor. So that was put out from the pulpit. So that means he has the authority on behalf of Mile High Church to conduct pastoral duties.
Exactly.
So, not on behalf of me.
Exactly.
You ain't gonna be going around telling other people's wives you want to eat their stuff on behalf of me. I go tell them myself if that's how it is. But I ain't
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I am venting. I'm just venting, okay? I don't want to vent on Facebook because I have a big audience. I have a big platform on Facebook. So I don't want to vent on Facebook because I'm not ready for it to come out like that. But but I don't. You know, but I'm taught. I am, y'all, because this is a big deal. Like, oh my, it's a big. But I know I didn't. I'm look. I'm just saying it here.
When it gets squashed, Angie. When it gets squashed, when something you know what I'm saying. When it gets kind of swept, because that's what I'm waiting to see. It gets kind of swept under the rug or whatever. Then I think that's the time. I would say, hey, do how you feel. Come out with it. I tell you what, whenever and whatever, like, you know, I support you because I'm right there. We're on the same page. So, you know, and like I was saying with Vince, look, you have to make a choice.
And my thing is right here to, you know, whoever knows, whoever here, whoever listening. Okay, now it's the time. Don't apologize to me months later after you've got hurt, after he's hurt or violated you, and then you want to come back and do not, because I don't accept apologies. I do not. You could ask anybody that know me. Do not try to come back and apologize to me later after you've been done wrong and you realize Tangie was right. Let me say I'm sorry. No, because I'll tell you what you could do with that apology.
Robbed and victimized.
You're not. I'm not. Okay? Do not. Don't come back later. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hurt you. Yeah. And guess what? It's just like, for example, if somebody died, you can say you sorry all you want to say you sorry. It ain't going to bring them back, is it? It ain't going to bring them back. So sometimes you just need to realize what you're doing while you're doing it. And then you don't have to go back and apologize. Just be cautious of what you're doing in the first place. And then you don't have to worry about going back and apologizing. Because some stuff just cannot be undone, okay? That scar is always going to be there. And it cannot be undone. So you saying you're sorry, you're saying you apologize, that's to make you feel better. That's to make your conscience feel better. It does nothing for that person that you apologize to. And a lot of times it's just for you. And to me, even that in itself is selfish. Even that in itself is selfish. That's all I got. That's all I got. That's it.
Well, anyways, I'm glad you'll be there tomorrow at least. And,
Yep. My last hurrah. My last
Well, you know,
hurrah.
you can always